Welcome back, kids, to another fun episode of Sit Crooked, Talk Straight. My name is Katie Myers.
And I'm Leanne Jameson.
And I don't know why I threw in fun. They're all fun.
I was thinking of like fun is like, subjective.
No, this will be up for debate because.
Good one.
So we're actually recording on Election Day. This will air in a couple weeks. But we are front and center of all of our minds, obviously, what's going to happen if you are a U.S. citizen, what's going to happen with our leadership in the upcoming day, weeks, months, the next 4 years.
Next 4 years, exactly. That's what I was thinking. I'm like, the next 4 years.
Next 4 years.
Yeah.
Fuck. But so there's the contrast, right? Obviously, there's a male candidate and there's a female candidate, and there are some people who will vote solely on that, which makes my heart so sad and so sad. However, it brought to light, and I found this poem this morning that I thought would be fun. Again, fun. It's not fun. Damn it. We're talking about women's oppression. This is not fun.
It's not fun, but we're gonna shed some light.
But because Leanne and I are so passionate and dedicated in the pursuit of flipping this script, I do think it is really fucking fun and amazing to blow the lid off of all the expectations and all the status quo bullshit and patriarchal heaviness and oppression and the weight of that. And I like it is fun for me to flip the bird to all of the and we talked about, I was getting ready to say damn the man, right? But as Leanne and I talked about just a moment ago, this is not a zero-sum game of, in order to be pro-women, you have to be anti-man.
Anti-man, yeah.
That's not even close. But there is such disparity between still, and we've come so far, but there's still fucking so much disparity between men and women and all the different areas that we have to focus on rising up as women and celebrating and not giving a shit what men think.
Right.
Or women who want to keep us in oppression.
Because that's what I was thinking of, just it's not even, of course I always think on my walk, so I'm walking and I'm not exactly what are we going to talk about, just what's on the top of my mind. Mm-hmm. And it is truly, it's it doesn't matter to me, because a lot of people, and I was thinking about making a video post on this, a lot of people, just because I identify as a women's empowerment coach, they might make the assumption that I'm anti-men, right? Or whatever, of course I'm gonna vote for Kamala, all of these things, you're making all sorts of assumptions because of what I do,
right.
Which is not, for me, it truly... Yes, I am meant to inspire women. I am meant to guide women. I am meant to empower women. It's, again, not at the cost of hating somebody else, right? I am more about the energetics and the value alignment of what the feminine offers. And there is, like you said, the disparity. There's such a big gap still about perception of, a man versus a woman. And this dates back, to
Adam and Eve.
To Adam and Eve, which is what we're going to be talking about, right? Which, actually, that's, Katie's going to read something that she saw. And it truly is about, when we come back to it, and I'm what are my values? What is my mission? It's to lead with compassion and connection. And those are very feminine qualities, right? And it's not about leading with fear, which is it's more of, I want to say, a masculine quality. So, anyways, yeah. So and it's so funny that, Katie brought this up as we were chatting about what we were going to talk about, because I was just telling her, I said, oh my gosh, this is everything. And my first training in my certification program was to understand where the suppression started, not to not to like, create any kind of like fear or hatred, but just to have the self-awareness and the understanding of what happened, and to create passion, right? A passionate movement forward, to create more of the equality, to create more of this compassionate society that I know we can have. So, and I've seen it in pockets, but I want to see it more. So, anyways, please lead us into into what triggered this conversation.
Absolutely. So the poem is called "If Adam Picked the Apple" by Danielle Coffin, and her last name is spelled Coffyn. I just think this is so brilliant, and so thank you to Danielle. I don't know you, but your poem resonated so deeply and aligned with what we're going to talk about. So, if Adam picked the apple, there would be a parade, a celebration, a holiday to commemorate the day he saw enlightenment. We would not speak of temptation by the devil. Rather, we would laud Adam's curiosity, his desire for adventure and knowing. We would feast on apple-inspired fare, torts, chutneys, pancakes, pies. There would be plays and songs reenacting his courage. But it was Eve who grew bored, weary of her captivity in Eden, and a woman's desire for freedom is rarely a cause for celebration. And you were talking, Leanne, earlier about, right, like you're creating this certification program, which if anybody's interested in that, we'll link Leanne's website and program information in the show notes.
Can.
Because I think like this is on the cutting edge of a cutting edge, but also like there's so much, I think, good momentum, and you are taking it to the next level, which is what you do, right? Like next level life purpose, all of the trailblazer
right
efforts and mentality and support. And so you were talking about celebrating really awesome milestones and like reaching goals, and it reminds me of whenever I talk with women about celebration. And I remember when I went through your program and it was time to talk about celebration, and I was like, I don't even fucking know what that means.
Yeah.
Like I didn't even know. I didn't have the language or the experiences or the role models to tell me what any of that meant. And so anyway, celebrating women.
Yes. Well, I mean, and that even comes back to that poem where it's, if we celebrate, it's considered like we are boasting about ourselves, egotistical. When a man celebrates his wins, everybody's rallying around him, right? And again, I do know. I was going to say I don't know where this all started, but I do know where this started. I hate that it started from a place of fear and ego. And, we talked about that in the last leading with ego, about like what happens. I mean, even women, we can lead from ego, but it's just such a sad case that, there has to be this division, right? And I was actually on my way out to walk this morning. My husband always watches the news in the morning, and I just heard like, we can no longer afford to live with division and in fear. And it was coming, and I heard Kamala, right? I was just like, yes, that is what I'm all about. And that's where it really started, was that like, when you go back to the Gnostic Bibles, when you go back to Mary Magdalene revealed, right? And there are so many other women who know so much more about this stuff than I do. And I can point you in the right direction if you're looking for them. That have like dedicated their lives to studying, the witch trials and like what really happened there and all of it, where it was fear, it was jealousy, it was fear of how powerful we are as women.
Control.
Yes.
How can they control women? Because we are so fucking powerful.
Right. When we... they're scared, and a lot of times people are scared when you think about just like the energetic power that we all have. I mean, we all have to wield within us. I mean, that's proven through science, that's proven through quantum physics. But just what a horrible turn of events it took. In order to have that control and to make sure that we are put in our place. And I see more and more women, like, you know, you were saying we're on the precipice of this. I think all of the women before us laid this solid foundation of really rallying and advocating for our rights. And I say this, like, sometimes we've done a disservice because we took it to the extreme, where it was like, let me show you just how powerful I am, and I am going to do all of the things, and I'm going to wear this, and I'm going to, you know, and I'm not going to ask for help, and and we see where that's led us as well. Right. So now I really think what I'm seeing is that we're on this sort of, what do I want to say, this pendulum back and forth of, where it's actually coming more towards the center, where it's, you know, we are, we can do things, and we do it in community, and we do it, and like we go further together, and all of these things. So I think that, again, with like the rise of some people's fear, right, is because we're rising again, we as females. And I mean, that's shown over and over in politics. And even when I think about the politics in other countries and how women do it better and have done it better and have proven to do things better, and that scares some people, right? And instead of inspiring, and like, I just think about what would happen if we could all just celebrate it, just celebrate all of it. But like, I mean, just looking, you know, back and at like the earliest times, as I was saying before, of just having the suppression of feminine energy was pre 500 BCE, okay? Where it was, this is where in ancient societies we were actually regarded, females were actually highly regarded, and we did rule a lot, right? People really worshipped like goddesses, right? And we were central figures, and symbolizing this, like the fertility, the creation, like the cycles of life. And it was really looked at as this, like, we were looked at, you know, as this source of life and abundance, right? And then as patriarchal systems emerged between like 500 BCE and 500 CE, feminine energy began to be devalued, suppressed, and specifically it started in like ancient Greece and Rome, where there was this like rise of this male-dominated religious and philosophical thought. I'm
gonna say religion really
it really fucked us up.
Man.
It really fucked us up.
It really did. And continues to, depending on what circle you are in.
Yeah, absolutely. Right? So I just wanted to give a little history there, right? Of just like, this is how far back, like, you know, it's, and now I feel like it's coming really, truly like full cycle. And there's going to be, I mean, I keep on saying this, and it's not out of a place of fear. It's actually out of a place of, like, this is just what it's going to take to come, like, sort of like, maybe not full circle, but back to the place where it's just like, we are really embodying all, you know, and honoring all parts of us. But I really think, like, regardless of who wins this election in the United States, right? And like, we're acting like we're the center of the universe, but like, in the
true American way.
I know, right? But like, I just think either way, shit's gonna hit the fan. It's going to explode, because it has to, because that's just like the cycle that we have gone through in our world. And it usually it usually ends in war before we can actually come back together into more of like an enlightenment era. But yeah, anyways, that's I don't mean to get all dry. Like, I feel like sometimes that's like very dry information of just like, but this is really inspirational. Like you said, like, it's fun for me to talk about this stuff and to really understand it. And like, what happened, right? And like, how do we,
I think in order for us to truly move forward and learn from the mistakes of our past, we have to understand where we came from.
Yeah.
And And so that the understanding or the diving deeper into just the history, I think is valuable. The fun part for me is to feel super aligned with the women, the generations, our ancestors before us, who, whether they were publicly flipping patriarchy the bird, or whether they were public or private about it, they were working to change things. And that is, go back to our very first episode, we are change makers.
Yes.
Women, and again, this is not anti-men, this is just women have the ability to make change in a different way.
Right.
Than men. And it's not, again, it's not better than, it's different. But we are change makers, and when we step into that truth, man, is that not the most exhilarating and fun and adventurous and right, like all the things that we would have complimented Adam on, of like being inspired and seeking enlightenment and all the things about his courage. Like, that's us, ladies.
Exactly.
That's
exactly.
us.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, there's actually proven, through psychology, there's so much like with research in psychology, even hormonally, everything, that we as women have better adaptability skills, like to be able, yeah.
Oh my gosh. So I was just listening to this podcast yesterday. Mel Robbins interviewed Dr. Mindy Perez, anyway, about intermittent fasting, and they were comparing the intermittent fasting cycles for women to the hormone cycles, right? Like, and I'm not going to get this all correct because I'm not a doctor or scientist, and I don't pretend if I can be one. But I know that, like, for typical women's cycles, there's a surge of estrogen, there's a surge of progesterone, there's a surge of testosterone, all part of, and I don't know when it happens or why it happens, but it fucking happens. And it's when we are in a certain phase, and I'll need to look it up, but when we're in a certain phase of our menstrual cycle, that is when we are our most creative, our most insightful, our most powerful, our most energetic. Like, that is proven, right? Like, that's science.
Yes.
And then they were tying into like intermittent fasting of like, don't fast like the week before your cycle, because that is when we are supposed to be more nurturing and more, right? Like, because we're all of the things, ladies, we're all of the things. And to deny one part of it or to only embrace one part of it is just fucking shortchanging the entire universe. So stop that shit. Cut that shit out.
I know, right? Stop it. What was it? Oh my gosh, that reminds me of the skit, the Saturday Night Live skit, where it's like the therapist and what are you doing? Stop it! Stop it! Just stop it!
We are not that type of therapist or coach. We are not. Except for right now. Cut it out.
Except for right now. Well, and it's really reframing all of this, right? When we, it's the mindset, it's the soul set shift, it's this, and again, we're doing this together. I mean, coming together and speaking together and talking about and living actually in complete alignment with that harmonization. Like you said, we're all of it. Men can be all of it too, right? I don't want to diss them. And like, we are powerful. That's why they're so fucking afraid of us. So what gets to happen? Oh my gosh, what gets to happen when we step into that light, right? We let other people shine. Marianne Williamson, that one quote, right? It's like, we are not.
Well, when we allow our light to shine, we give other people permission to do the same. We are not meant to play small.
Exactly. And
again,
also,
cut that shit out.
Right. Well, it's also looking at like, we're not. Oh my gosh, wasn't it her that it was just like, it's not our light, or it's not fear.
It's not our darkness that scares us. It's our light.
Yes.
It is our power. It is not our darkness that scares us. Yes. Fucking love that quote.
But it's our light, and that's what, you know, other people have seen this power within us. We truly do. Again, this goes back 2,000 years when they started talking about, you know, when you look at like Kundalini, because Kundalini is the feminine energy that lies within us, and it resides like in our pelvic floor, in between our belly button and like our tailbone. And when we can really, again, you know, that's shining. It's just for us to like wield it and to recognize it and to stop thinking, right? Like stop believing all of the, and I'm gonna call women out like you did too, where it's just like, stop looking at other women who are actually taking authority, like being the authority and moving forward and maybe going against the grain, thinking that they're bitches or calling them bitches, or like, oh my gosh, because guess what? We don't do that to men. We need to be nicer to each other.
Amen.
And that is like lifting each other up. And I'm so grateful that I'm in the circles that I'm in, that we have done this, and we always do this. And it's not talking badly about people, and it's recognizing like the gift that's within all of us. But when you see somebody who's doing well, who's like taking charge in a different way, to celebrate each other, to celebrate her, instead of putting her down, because I know that still happens, and it really, really hurts my heart.
I think it's an inevitable piece. As long as there's fear and insecurity, that will be a piece of our story. And so insecurity and jealousy looks good on no one. No. Just FYI, ladies, it's not your color. It's not, it just doesn't look good on you. And so like, let's step into, if you do feel jealous or envious of someone, let that be the inspiration. Like, instead of it being, oh my gosh, look at her. Instead it's like, oh my gosh, look at her. Like, I want that.
Look at
her. Look at her go. But being like that cheerleader for one another, I really, it makes me really sick when I hear or see women aligning with the masculine fear and anti-feminine.
Right, and like survival of the fittest, dog eat dog world, like all that bullshit that we were fed.
Frankly, we don't have time for that shit right now, ladies. So let's stop wasting our time.
Yes.
Let's challenge the status quo, step into your power, step into the light, let your light shine. If people look at you and look at you sideways, fucking tell them to get a pair of sunglasses. You're not going to dim your light. You're not going to shrink. You're not going to get small. I have, there's a bookmark on my Facebook of a sweater that I want to buy that has the quote on it. It's a hooded sweatshirt. It says, if you think I'm too much, go find less. And like, be all that you are. And if people don't understand you, then those aren't your people.
Right? And I want people to look at, you had mentioned, I can't remember if it was here or it was when we were chatting about like the Salem witch trials, and how it's like, instead of like, we were looking at these women who understood herbs and an alternative way of healing. Of course, like, it just, whatever, we can go on and on about that, of how fucking angry I am about that. And this is important too, is like, you know, with anger, you can allow anger to inspire you. Like, that is,
it's the motivation.
It's the motivation. It creates passion, like, you know, with that. So anyways, but it just, that's why I started doing what I do, because I was so fucking angry about the gap that was happening, that we continue to allow and buy into. So, like, start looking at the people who fucking burn the witches and being like, you know, that's really fucked up. Like, you know, so what is going on there?
Why are we not looking at the people burning other people alive?
And that's right, exactly. And that's how, but I know that this is sort of a little extreme, but that's how I want us to look at women who are like still, not just women, but just like I want people to look at the norm, air quotes, the norm of what we've been living by, of like, what the fuck? Like, that's not right. You know what I mean? Instead of looking at the person who's going against the grain is like, the fuck? They're really weird and they're not, whatever. You know what I mean? Like, I want us to flip that.
Totally.
And so, yeah, that's really the call to start looking at people that are just going along with this old way of living and being like, man, maybe that's not so great.
Let's start questioning things. Why do we do the things that we do? If the answer is because we've always done them that way, that's a red flag.
Yeah.
Let's start questioning why we do and think and move through the world in the way that we do.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, and of course, if you need any kind of support with that, we are here for you. We will rally with you. We will we will connect you with the people that will.
Got your back. Got your back, ladies.
We got you. So yes, let's start looking at the lifting each other up and challenging the status quo as something that is more normal than not, and like the excitement and celebrating each other. So we would love to know, like, tell us who you celebrate, tell us who you want to give a shout out to, of just like, hey, thanks for changing my life or inspiring me, or we all have those people. I often think about our old boss Nancy, who I just referred to her the other day, where I'm like, wow, I had the best, like the greatest mentor I could have asked for when I was, coming out of grad school and all of that, and
oh my gosh.
Yeah, so give a shout out to those people.
Nancy Stockwell, do you listen to us, Nancy Stockwell? Do you know Nancy Stockwell? If you have the gift or the honor of knowing her, she has probably impacted you in some way. Everyone go out and be Nancy. Be like, if you don't have a Nancy in your life, go out and be Nancy in your life.
Find and be a Nancy. I love it. So yes, we are always look for mentors that are, that rallying and lifting and celebrating each other and challenging that status quo. So we are so grateful that you were with us for another episode of Sick Crooked Talk Straight. And we are here to support you, to cheer you on, to celebrate you. And as always, let your light shine, let your legacy shine, and trailblazers unite, please. So always sending so much light and love your way. Mwah.